We're all kind of looking for the unwritten rules of success, right? We search for them in company handbooks, we read management books, we might even check our horoscopes, just hoping to find that magic formula for getting ahead. But what if the biggest rule we've all been taught, that hard work always pays off, is actually a myth? Let's get into that. Okay, so this single idea, it probably goes against almost everything you've ever learned about climbing the ladder. I mean, hard work, signaling reliability, that makes perfect sense. But signaling that you're not ready for the next step? Now that's the paradox we need to unpack. It's a really subtle difference, but trust me, it's one that could completely change how you think about your career. All right, so let's just tackle this paradox head on. On one hand, you've got all the blood, sweat, and tears you pour into your job. And on the other, you have the reality of how promotions are actually decided. And as you've probably noticed, those two things don't always line up the way we think they should.
From day one, the message is basically, put your head down, do the work, and you'll get rewarded. It's simple. But we've all seen it happen, right? The person working the longest hours, the hardest worker on the team, doesn't always get the promotion. And this isn't because the system is necessarily broken or unfair. It's because a lot of the time it's measuring something completely different from just pure effort.
So if it's not just about effort, then what is the hidden logic behind a promotion? What is really going on in your manager's head when they're making that decision? And here it is. This is the big mindset shift. A promotion isn't a gold star for all those late nights you pulled last year. It's a calculated bet. It's the organization looking at you and making a decision about their future. It's not about rewarding your past. It's about them managing their future risk. So when your boss is considering you for that next role, they're really only asking one question deep down. Can I trust this person with more responsibility, more chaos, more uncertainty? They aren't just looking backward at the great job you've done. They're trying to look forward and predict how you'll handle all the stuff nobody can plan for. This slide just lays it all out, this huge perception gap. You think you're broadcasting effort, but leadership is on a totally different channel, and they're trying to evaluate risk. You're showing them that you're dependable at your current job, but what they really need to see is if you're decisive enough for the next one. It's like you're speaking two different languages. So it really just boils down to this. Managers promote people they trust. They don't just promote effort. And you have to remember, an organization is a system. And what do systems love? Predictability. They need to know that giving you more power will make things more stable, not less. And your real job is to prove you're that person. But why? Why does this logic even exist? Well, it's because companies are these incredibly complex systems. And to get ahead, you have to show that you get it, that you know how to operate inside that system, and even more importantly, how you can actually make the whole thing stronger. Come on, we've all wondered this. You see a colleague just flying up the ranks, and you're thinking, what is going on? They're not working twice as hard as I am, and you're probably right. It's because whether they know it or not, they're sending completely different signals to the system. And here's what those signals look like. These people don't just talk about their to-do list. They talk about how their work plugs into the bigger picture. They actively make things clearer and more predictable for their boss and their team. They're literally reducing uncertainty for everyone around them. They're not just solving today's problems, they show they're thinking about tomorrow's. And this is the big one. They show through their actions and their decisions that they can be trusted to carry more risk for the whole organization. Okay, so that's the theory. That's the what and the why. But how do you actually do it? Let's talk strategy. How do you go from being seen as the reliable workhorse to the person who is trusted with the keys to the kingdom? This is really the central question for your career, isn't it? It's all about changing the signals that you're sending out. It's not about working more hours, it's about working smarter, and, this is crucial, communicating what you do in a totally different way. Here are 3 things you can start doing like tomorrow. First, when you present a project, don't just show the shiny finished product. Walk them through the why. Explain the trade-offs you made, the risks you saw coming, the logic behind your choices. Second, stop thinking of your job as just a list of tasks. Start taking ownership of the actual business outcome. Talk about that outcome, not just the steps you took to get there. And finally, make your judgment visible. When you're in a meeting and you give an opinion, explain the reasoning behind it. You're showing them how you think, which is exactly what they need to see to trust you with bigger, messier problems. So the next time you're thinking about how to get that promotion, just remember this. Your effort is the price of admission. It gets you in the game, but it won't win it for you. The real work is in building trust. It's about proving you're ready to handle more risk, navigate more uncertainty, and ultimately make the entire system stronger. It's a huge shift from focusing on toil to focusing on trust. And the only question is, what signal are you going to send tomorrow?